want to focus on Buffalo.
Yes.
We'll talk about that.
Yes. When the schedule came out, I was really excited about the bye week. And then you realize this is a longer time than what you've ever had before. So we're certainly excited, ready to play another game. We've had a lot of time to rest and recover, to self-evaluate our team, things we do well, things we need to get better at. And so we put a lot of work in last week, improvement style, to get ready to continue to play the style that we want to play the rest of the season. So I really want to give a big shout out to my coaching staff. I think, a lot of times those are the guys that get lost in the shuffle. We have some coaches on my staff that are dealing with some real life things, from family perspective. And we make a commitment to one another that when we walk in this building is everything about helping our players be the best that they can possibly be. So certainly appreciate all their hard work and dedication. It doesn't go unnoticed. I want to shout out to James White. He's been phenomenal for our team. Having him around, his experience has been great for our players to see. I think they've taken to that. Certainly want to talk about our compete team. One thing about our football program, as we continue to build and continue to move forward, our compete team has gotten better and better each year. And, one thing about us, if you go out to practice and you're not performing your best, you will get embarrassed by the compete team. And those guys really get us ready to play. They help prepare us throughout the week. They keep guys sharp and engaged, and they're developing, well in our program. A lot of those young players would have played for us a couple years ago, but when their time comes, they'll be ready to play. So, obviously, Buffalo, first MAC game, big deal for us. Like I told our team, nobody measures you for a ring for playing Notre Dame. Our goal is to compete for a championship, and we have our first opportunity to, move up in the race this week against a very improved football team. Coach Limbo has done a great job there. He's a head coach that's been around a long time. He was the head coach at Lehigh, Elon, Ball State, and now in Buffalo. I think his career record is 114-66. So he has a lot of experience. You can tell by the way his team plays. They play tough. They play physical. They play disciplined. Offensively, they got a quarterback that's a dual threat guy. They have two really, really good running backs. Their offensive line is physical, especially in the interior of the offensive line. And last week they had some receivers go up and make 50-50 contested plays. So we got a big challenge with their offense, but it starts with the quarterback. We got to make sure we do a great job tackling and putting ourselves in position to get them in some long situations and see how they'll adjust. Defensively, defensive coordinators from Miami of Ohio, very similar style to Miami of Ohio, do a great job getting a hat on the hat. Last week they played some different coverages, so it'd be interesting to see how they try to play us, and we'll have to be able to adjust and adapt at that point. Very active up front. They got some twitchy D tackles and D ends that can create stress and problems. The linebackers play physical and downhill, and then they tackle well on the back end. So, very disciplined scheme. Certainly want to try to get an extra hat to the box if possible, depending on formations. And then special teams. Obviously, Coach Limbo is a special teams guru. That's been his background for a long time. So we have a tremendous challenge on special teams. At South Carolina, they did a lot of fakes and ways to try to steal a possession. So we have to be on high alert on special teams to make sure that we do our job from a special team standpoint and try to minimize that phase. But we know they're going to have something for us in a special teams game, and we got to be alert to that and be prepared for it, along with playing great fundamentals and techniques. So it's a big game for us. It's the next game, but obviously it's our first conference game. And so from their perspective, obviously, you play conference games. You only allowed to travel 70 people to a game. So I'd be curious to see how that adjusts with their personnel, because if we had to travel 70 at this point, it would be a challenge, knowing that all the different guys involved with special teams. So certainly looking forward to the challenge on Saturday. I hope it's a sold-out Husky Stadium. It feel like they got a lot of tickets sold already, and hopefully we have a lot more people engaged. That makes a tremendous advantage for our football team. It creates energy. It creates excitement. It creates a home field advantage that will allow us to play better. So I hope Husky Stadium is packed this weekend. All the Husky alums are proud of the way we play, and hopefully we can go out there and have a good performance on Saturday as well.
Coach, you do anything different than past years when you had the week off this time?
Yeah, we've never had a complete week off, not that I can remember. You normally have the action, 10 days to prepare for the next week. But we were able to self-scout last week, early in the week, some things we do well and things we need to get better at. We were able to have some improvement practices. And then on Saturday and Sunday, we actually put the game plan in for Buffalo and practice the game plan for Buffalo. So we gave our players some rest early in the week, improvement practice, and then obviously got a lot of physical work done over the weekend to try to put ourselves in the best position possible to be successful. So now it's about polishing up the details, continue to study the game plan. Obviously, Buffalo played UMass last week. They did some different things offensively and defensively. So we tried to make sure we show them those looks as well. And we know they'll have some new things in this week. So we got to be ready to prepare for everything and adjust to anything.
I'm sorry.
Do you want to go?
Yeah, you can go.
Okay. So, Coach, obviously you come off this bye week. It's a good time for players to get this rest, but also time for the high from the Notre Dame win to kind of, simmer down. How do you feel about the players' ability to kind of put that win in the back of their minds and just focus solely on Buffalo?
Yeah, they moved on. I can tell you last week's Wednesday practice was the most physical practice we've had in a long time. We talked about making it training camp-style practices, and we were able to get that done on Wednesday and Thursday of last week. And I know to the outside world, people are still talking about that game. But, one of our 5 fights is us versus them. And us, as everybody involved in our organization, we moved on last week. So it's great for the university, great for the athletic department, great for the football program. But we have a job to do to make sure we can play our best football on Saturday.
What have these last couple weeks been like, just from an emotional standpoint, personal standpoint, in the wake of that game?
I've handled my obligations that Donna Turner has put in front of me, but at the end of the day, my full focus is on our football team and making sure we are the best team we can be week in and week out. And so I've been busy, but my coaching staff has done a phenomenal job making sure our guys are prepared. When I walk on the practice field, those guys give me complete confidence that they're ready to go. So I'm excited to get to Saturday and hopefully play our best game to date at this point.
It's only been 2 weeks into the season now, but you talk about that self-scouting. What have you liked so far out of your team in these first 2 weeks, and what are some of those things you're looking to build on as you get ready for Max?
Yeah, no, I think things we want to continue to build on: ball security, takeaways. Those are two areas that we can, definitely try to enhance. We got to be great at protecting the football. We need to be better at taking the ball away. Always working on tackling, always working on special teams. So, our focus, if you just look at the things you do well, you can never improve. So what are the things that we need to continuously work on to get better at? And that's what we worked on. Scheme-wise, there are things we can do scheme-wise. Disguises on defense, obviously, changing personnels and looking at our personnels on offense and making sure we break tendencies. You could be in a certain formation and throw the ball 90% of the time. Well, you need to have some runs in there so people can't play tendencies. So all those things we looked at extensively to make sure that we can offset some things that we've shown on tape to date.
progress with this team, offense, defense, is about what you thought it would be after 2 games, or is it a little ahead, a little behind, or?
Well, I like where we're at. I think going into the season, I thought we had a complete football team. I would love for us to be better on special teams. We got to be more consistent on special teams. Tom Foley has to punt the ball better. We have a great defense. We got to pin people back. I think he's averaging 30 yards per punt. Our field goal unit was better last week. It wasn't as good week 1. And then obviously our coverage teams, we got to do a better job on kickoff teams. So we can really get better and improve on special teams to get better. And we got a tremendous challenge this week that we have to be ready for.
Coach, you talked about you haven't had a bye week in your tenure here as the NIU coach. Does it almost feel like you're starting the season fresh out here on Saturday?
Yeah, the way our guys have been bouncing around, it was the right time. We talked about a 6-week build-up, 4 weeks in training camp, 2 games. And then as you look at it again, we have another 6-week build-up till we get to action. So I thought it came at a perfect time for us where we can assess and get better. But also keep them fresh, right? We've been very, very healthy the first couple of weeks of the season, and hopefully this time off will allow us to continue to stay healthy. And then also, we're big into nutrition. Like a lot of seasons that's happened in the past, guys start at a certain weight, and by the end of the season, they lose a lot of weight. But our nutritionist, Melissa, has put a great plan together to help our guys maintain their weight. Which to me, your weight, dictates performance. And so we are working extremely hard on maintaining our weights, maintaining our strength in the weight room, so we can continue to be strong as the season goes along.
You guys are offensively top 25 in a lot of different stats. You touched on it a little bit, but what have you seen out of your offense that's been the kind of underlying keys to success?
Yeah, well, we've only played 2 games, so, top 25 after 2 games really doesn't mean much. We'd like to be top 25 after 12 games. But what I've seen is balance, where we've been able to, run and pass and keep people off balance. I think we have to continue to maintain that balance. I talked about being a balanced offense before the season, and if we can continue to stay, unbalanced or continue to maintain balance, that gives our playmakers a chance to continue to make plays for the offense. So I love the versatility. We have a lot of different personnel groups. A lot of guys can do a lot of different things, and we got to, maintain that throughout the season to be the type of offense we want to be.
I know you've touched on him a lot over the course of the season here, but just talk about Ethan's growth at the quarterback position over the course of the year. I mean, after you've been able to see these first 2 games, just what have you seen out of him?
No, Ethan has given us a chance to be the type of offense that we want to be and want to continue to be. I mean, he's getting us in the right checks. He's a coach on the field. Nobody watches more tape than Ethan Hampton. And so, he comes up and watches in the wide receiver room, and I sit in there and watch it or give him some suggestions. But, he's studying the opponent like a pro. And I think he's able to play faster and play with more confidence because of his preparation. And one thing I tell our players is preparation knows no opponent. And so the more you can prepare, the faster you can play, the more confident you can become. And every week you have to go back to the same process. And if you can keep a routine and a process, that will allow you to play your best on Saturdays.
How much? I'm sorry.
You can go this one. Yeah.
How much of an eye opener do you think it was for the guys on the team that win, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I guess it was an eye opener for everybody else. It wasn't an eye opener for us. We played a tremendous team, and we played as hard as we can play, and we gave ourselves a chance to win the game in the fourth quarter. To say it was an eye opener, that would be a disrespect to our football team. We got a good football team that expect to go out there and compete at a high level.
From a confidence standpoint,
Yeah,
what do you
we
gain
had
out of
confidence
that?
going. We had confidence the whole season. So that game don't change our confidence, at all. I don't. Yeah, I'm kind of confused with those questions, but we are a confident group, a group that work extremely hard, a group that work together, and a group that expects to play to a certain standard, an expectation of what we want it to look like.
Coach, you talked about how being top 25 in stats doesn't really mean much after 2 weeks. Do you have the same kind of mindset for the AP ranking, number 23 right now?
Yeah, I haven't even mentioned it to our players, to be honest with you, because it doesn't matter. That's somebody else's opinion about you that don't know anything about us. The only thing we know is how we work and how we prepare and how we go out there and execute. And if you're going to let people outside of our building dictate how good you are, then that's going to become a problem at some point in time. So I'm sure it's good for the fans or whatnot, but for us, we're trying to be the best team we can be this week. They have a goal, be 1-0. That's all that matters. So that's our goal every week, to try to be 1-0 and find a way to work together as a team to win a game.
One of the keys on Saturday, how did the guys react to things they haven't seen on film with Buffalo? As you mentioned, you're going to see some things you haven't seen, how they're going to react.
Yeah, no. Obviously, this week, hopefully we have the iPads again against Notre Dame. For whatever reason, the iPads wasn't working, so we didn't have the iPads last week. But, those iPads are great for in-game adjustments. And so, I know it worked the first game for us home. So if they come out with some new schemes or some different things, we'll look at the iPad and make the adjustments. I thought my coaching staff did a great job that first week with Western Illinois, an opponent that we had no information on, and they showed us a lot of different things, and we settled our players down to go out and play the next snap. So certainly looking forward to getting back the use of the iPads this week, and I think that'll be good for our players because obviously new staff, new coordinators, I'm sure they have new things they haven't shown up to date that we have to be ready to make adjustments for.
Well, you expect to see that. I mean, during
you definitely expect to see it. And what I tell our coaches is, let's make the adjustment in game and not wait till Sunday after the game to make the adjustment. So we got different people looking for different things. We have an outline of what we think, and if they adjust, we have our adjustments on paper. That's part of the game planning. Whatever they show you, you have to have an answer. And we work extremely hard to have the answers. And if we need to go to those answers, then we try to do it quickly as possible.
Coach, go ahead. Go ahead, Joe.
I was going to say, I know a big focal point, a lot of the stuff you've been talking about, especially on, national interviews, I think you brought it up locally too last week, is generating a lot of interest, not only in terms of ticket sales, but in terms of donations.
Yes.
Obviously, how big has it been to use the platform over the last 2 weeks, and how important is that to you to, make sure not only people are coming to the game, but people know that they can donate and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, obviously in this new era of college football, there are a lot more things involved as far as NIL, facilities, to stay competitive. And if, everybody is happy that we won that game last week, but to maintain that or to be able to continue to move forward, it takes an investment. And so, certainly our Husky Athletic Fund has done a great job building off of a moment to a movement. And I think if we can continue to do that, we can continue to build the type of team that we want to be to move forward in this new day and age of college football. And so we're always looking for ways to enhance the program, and for us, enhancing our facilities, enhancing our collectives. Those are ways that we can continue to attract the type of young men in our program that can help us compete.
Coach, just only question about the last win, but when you win a game like that, similar to when you win the MAC championship in 21, it puts a target on the team's back. Do you think that the rest of the teams on the schedule look at you guys differently and want to give you their best shot when they come to town?
Yeah, you know what? Life is too short to worry about what other teams are thinking about. All I can concern myself with is our team and making sure they're prepared to play. And if they go out and they are as prepared to play as possible, then we're going to live with the results. We're not going to put any added pressure on ourselves. The pressure is to perform as good as you can perform. And at the end of the day, you live with the result. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. That's part of the game. And then we'll handle success or we'll handle failure and move on to the next week. But what we're not going to do is worry about what somebody else is thinking, what somebody else is telling their people. Our opponents are nameless and faceless. And that's going to be our standard. And we can care less. That's why we have fights, us versus them, Us is everybody in our organization. Them is everybody else. Okay, them does not matter. It's all about us and what we do, and so that's how we're going to maintain our focus. But we're not going to make this a bigger deal than what it needs to be. Somebody's going to win on Saturday, and somebody's going to lose. So, are we doing the things to give ourselves the best possible chance to win the game? That's all I'm concerned about.
Coach, with all this the national attention this team has received, and over the past 6 years of coach, NIU has not sold out Husky Stadium. I know, Donna, we haven't sold out since 2013. If you're able to do that this year and get all seats filled in Husky Stadium, what would that mean to you and the team to get?
Yeah, it would mean everything to have a sold out Husky Stadium. Listen, players get energized off of the energy from the stadium, and that makes a difference. So if people want us to be successful, come support us on game day. Make this a tremendous home field advantage. Make it very chaotic for the opponent. And that helps the football. That's why it's hard to win on the road. It's extremely difficult to win on the road because you're going into a hostile environment. When people start cheering or they get loud in critical situations, that puts you in more stress. So, if we can have a sold-out Husky Stadium and put Buffalo in a lot of stress, that's going to increase our chances of winning. And I think that's all we're looking to do. So hopefully the fans come out. It's a 2:30 game, not too early, not too late, where you can enjoy all the pregame festivities and cheer on the Huskies on Saturday.
Coach, Ontario was such a factor as a receiver at Notre Dame. Was that kind of a conscious decision going into this season to utilize him more in that role, and how has he progressed as a receiver at running back?
No, I mean he's always caught the ball. I think the first game of the season we played Western Illinois. I think he had almost as many yards receiving as he did his whole career. It was never for a lack of his receiving ability. It was just making sure we had enough plays to get him the ball. But if you have to worry about him as a runner and a receiver, that makes us a lot more unpredictable as an offense. So finding those different ways to creatively expand our offense is only going to make us better. And he's one of our better playmakers. We have to find creative ways where they just can't look at him in the I formation and know where he's at.
And Buffalo, the coaches ranked them 10th in the preseason poll in the MAC, or predicted them 10th. Did the coaches vastly underestimate this Buffalo?
Well, I think Coach Limbo and his track record of coaching would lead you to believe they were ranked wrong. He is a great football coach. I had a chance to meet him this summer during MAC Media Days. We rode a bus together to the Hall of Fame and talked. And just by talking with him, you know how intelligent he is and how good of a football coach he is by some of the things he said to me during that visit. So I know he's going to have his team prepared, and it's our job to be as prepared as possible to go play as hard as we can possibly play to give ourselves a chance to win.
We've seen a little bit more swagger with the guys in practice this week after that win, or are they much the same?
Yeah, I mean, these guys are confident guys. We're not swayed by a result of a game. That doesn't even make sense for a competitor. These guys have confidence. They practice that way. They walk that way. Now people are just starting to see it and then make assumptions that they didn't have swagger before. That doesn't make sense to me. This is a fun group to coach. I love being around them. They do things the right way on and off the football field, and we're going to continue to try to do that to the best of our abilities.
How hard was it to keep this group together, in the off season when, Power 5 teams and the transfer portal, they're trying to sell guys on making the jump?
Now, that's a great question. It was extremely difficult to keep our team together. We lost a couple guys, and then, all of a sudden, everybody wants to, text me, hey, Coach, can I see you? When you get a text from a player in December, it's like your heart just drops because, there's one or two things that's going to happen from that conversation. But we had a lot of guys come talk to me during December. I kept Sean Frazier and John Chaney, my sport AD, up to date with, what was being said and different conversations. But I knew how much the players loved this program. And so I treated them like men. I said, I'm going to support you no matter what you decide to do. But you know we love you guys. We want you here. We built something special. And I think if you see it through, I think special things will happen for this football team. And I was just happy with all the guys that decided to continue to be a part of our program, continue to buy into what we believe in. And these guys have been outstanding from a leadership standpoint, from a work ethic standpoint, from a discipline standpoint, from an academic standpoint. And so it's my job as the head coach to make sure we can do as much as possible for them so they can have a great experience in our program.
Going back to what you were talking about with Ontario and making sure there was enough plays for him to be that receiving back that he can be, just talk about as an offensive coach like yourself, how fun is it to come up with those plays for such an offensive side of the ball with such a skill level?
No, I mean, he's a tremendous athlete, and he still don't know how good he can be. He still is just starting to scratch the surface on his ability. And when he fully understands what he can do and the skills that he brings to the table, he's going to continue to get better each and every single week. So it's our job as coaches to put him in spots where he can showcase his ability. He ran a slant last week. The guy pushed him outside, still made a play on the ball, and then nobody can catch him. So for a guy of his size and his speed, we got to find ways to not only use him as a runner and a receiver, but as a blocker as well, and show his full arsenal of skills.
Coach, I know you talked about the increased media attention is good for funding and donations, but how good has it been for recruiting? I'm sure a lot of recruits have reached out to you in the last few weeks that want to come play for you now.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly enhanced the profile. We had our official visit weekend last week on the weekend because we didn't have a game and we wanted to spend more time with the players that's committed to us. And just seeing the parents and the players and how much pride they had in being committed to NIU spoke volumes to me that number one, we recruit the right type of kids. They develop in our program. And we recruit the right type of family. So when all those things come together, you're able to, retain a good percentage of your team.
Coach, have you and Ontario talked at all about how he overtook your career receiving yards mark yet?
No, I think he did that last year, so we haven't talked about it. Obviously, I think I still have a couple more games of eligibility. I only played one game my senior year, so I'm going to see how much he passed me by and see if I can still, finish my last 10 games.
Now, the competitor in Ontario, he doesn't ever try to race you in practice or anything?
I would only race him if I got a 25-yard head start and we're running a 40. So
in your prime, you say in your prime back in your playing days, you would beat him, right?
No way. He's fast. Yeah, I wasn't that fast.
Waiting for your NIL deal?
Huh?
You waiting for your NIL deal?
For the players. What? No, not for me. For whatever I do is going to be for our team. Definitely not. I know y'all saw my sunglass thing, but that was for our players. I'm going to try to make this place as special for those guys that work so hard for this program. I'm going to do everything possible to, try to enhance their situations.
So you shared this Cheez-Its?
Huh?
So you shared
Yeah,
this Cheez-Its?
they had the Cheez-Its. They're going to get some sunglasses. They're going to get some other things as we continue to go. But like I said, it's not for me. It's for them because of their commitment to our program and trying to make it as best as possible.
Anything else for Coach Hammock? All right, with that.
Thank you. Go Huskies.
Thanks, Coach.
today, Ethan Hampton, quarterback, Nate Belcarcel, safety, Javon Bird, cornerback. So we'll take questions for the Husky players.
Ethan, we'll start with you. Just kind of go through what you saw out of yourself in the first 2 weeks during that self-scouting period, and just talk about your growth from last season into these first 2 games of this year.
Yeah, I think I've grown a lot. I think I'm making better decisions than I have in the past. I think that's part due to the comfortability that I have in the offense. We changed some things up, feeling a lot more comfortable after we've reinstalled everything. So, when you're comfortable and confident, it makes you play way better.
As for the defensive guys, I know through the first 2 weeks of the season you haven't allowed an opponent to get up to 20 points. I know you guys are perfectionists, though. What are some things that you've seen that you need to work on here in the next game?
Nate?
Obviously, I feel like just staying physical throughout the whole game. Sometimes you might lack a couple plays here and there. We might take a play off. So just staying consistent with the being physical team, especially in the front line. So, yeah.
Javon?
I would say just being consistent in our technique, play in and play out. Obviously, at me and Nate's position, you can't have mental lapses. You can't take plays off because those end up touchdowns and points on the board. So I feel like just harping on those, minor details, staying locked in at practice, and, translating that attention to detail to the field on Saturdays.
This one's for Ethan. When Coach was in here, you're saying how you study like a pro and that you're always, looking at film. From what you're seeing for Buffalo, what's kind of the big defensive threat that sticks out to you?
Yeah, they have a lot of good players on their defense. Their front seven is really good. They have a All-American safety who's obviously proven himself to be a great player. There's really, nothing on defense that you're like, wow, this guy's, a weak spot, right? They're a good team. Improved since we've played them, and improved since last year with the new staff. So it'll be a good test to see, our consistency as a team, to see how we go out there and attack them this weekend.
Coach had mentioned you guys haven't had a bye week, just for everyone, by the way, that you haven't had a bye week throughout your entire time here at NIU. So what did it feel like to get a couple games under your belt, get a bye week, and then now you roll right into conference play?
Javon?
I would say it definitely, kind of restarted that fire underneath us. Having this extended break, it could be, good and bad, but I feel like we've used our time to our advantage. Obviously we flushed Notre Dame, and we looked ahead to our next opponent. So I feel like we use our time, to the best of our ability in that manner, and I feel like all the guys are fired up, offense and defense, to get back out there and show that we are prepared to, come in on Saturday after, a long break.
Nate?
It was a great bye week for us. I think, especially obviously a physical game against Notre Dame, it helped us get our bodies back, especially for the guys that played a lot of snaps. So coming back from a bye week, got back to practice with the good on good, with the ones on offense and the ones on defense. So it just helped us get back to normal kind of like fall camp practices. So I think we'll be ready to go.
Yeah, I'd agree with all those guys. I think the biggest aspect was to mentally come back down to where we have to be. It's hard. You beat a top 5 team. There's a lot of noise, a lot of outside people coming in wanting to, do interviews, do this and that. And that's all great stuff. But having that extra week to come back down to, where we need to be, refocus ourselves on Buffalo, I think that was the biggest advantage for this bye week.
This one will be for all 3 of you. So it's not even 2 weeks since you went to the packed crowd at Notre Dame, and now coming home. What would it mean for you guys to have a filled stadium, or even more so a sellout crowd on Saturday?
Yeah, that's everything to us. We haven't had that here since all of us. So we haven't had that since all of us have been here. So to see the school rallying around us and being able to represent them in the way we have. That means everything to us as players, and seeing the fans at the game cheering us on, being loud on third downs and big moments in the game, that's a huge momentum builder and a huge home field advantage. So going into the weekend with, probably going to get more people than we have in the past, I know it's going to fire our guys up, and it's going to be new, and it's going to be something, that we're really happy with and we hope stays consistent.
Nate?
Yeah, it will be a blessing for us as a football team, especially for the Husky community to all come out on Saturday, especially for defense. Not, we don't really get, away games, the third downs for defense is not as loud as, being at home. So having a home game and with the defense on third downs would be great for us. So.
And I think it'll benefit us as a team, just, want us to, it will make us play just that much harder, getting a packed crowd, a sold-out crowd, well, however close to the sold-out it may be, just getting that audience and that energy will just, we'll feed off of that, and we'll want to put our best foot forward even more so because of, the high crowd.
I don't know if easy is the right word to use, but coming off 2 wins like that and going into sort of a self-scouting mode during that bye week, how easy would it be to stay critical, or how easy is it to stay critical knowing that you still have a full season left to go, that there's still things to work on? That's for everyone.
Obviously, last week doesn't really matter for us. It was a great accomplishment for us, but obviously this week's the biggest game for us, especially since it's the first MAC game for us. So obviously, it would be great for us to become 1-0 in the MAC conference.
Anything else?
No.
Yeah. Just to also go back on your question, I agree with Nate. We're on to the next week, and I think it's the personality of this team. That we respond well, and good or bad times, we're gonna get back to our training and our baseline of what we know how to do.
Do you, for all 3 of you guys, do you look at that Notre Dame game as sort of a statement win for NIU, or do you look at it as more of hey, NIU should be winning games like that, should be beating the Power 5 teams, the top 25 teams?
Ethan?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. Obviously, it's a statement win for any school. So I don't think just because we're NIU and we go in there to be a top 5 team, it's a statement win because we're NIU. You go to Big Ten teams, Power 4 teams, they're going to be ecstatic that they went to Notre Dame and beat Notre Dame on their turf as well. But for us, our expectation is to win. Plain and simple, we have it right there on our wall. It's 1-0. So we weren't super surprised, that we won that game because of the preparation we put in beforehand.
Devon?
It's not too much I can piggyback off what Ethan said. I think he hit everything on the head. We go into every game, prepared. We done dissected the film. We done, went out on the scout team. We done watched the extra film, and we done, did all the communicating that we can do. We go in there, like I said, we go in there prepared and expecting to win offense and defense. It's never a doubt in our mind every time we step on anybody's field. We expect to win.
Nate?
I'm obviously agree with Ethan and Bird. Every week we go with the 1-0. So obviously that past week, we expected to win. So I think it was a great accomplishment for us. Obviously, to me, Buffalo was a bigger game than last week. So.
This one's for all 3 of you guys. Coach always talks about, and you guys do as well, how you guys block out the outside noise. It's all about that 1-game season each week. How hard is that now that, the whole country is familiar with who you guys are and everyone's been talking about you guys for the last 2 weeks? How hard was that to shut it down and then get right back to business?
Javon?
I'm not gonna say it's easy. Obviously it's you see it happen all the time where people get on their high horse or whatever and they let things go to their head. But that's not the culture of our program. Yes, I will acknowledge that it was a big win, but in this program we focus 1-0 every week, like the guys have been saying. So a lot of stuff, a lot of good things have come from this, and we are more than grateful for those things. But we still got a lot of football left to play. It's still a long season. And, 1-0 every week is our motto. That's our mantra. That's what we go by. So we just, take that and apply it every week, no matter who the opponent is.
Ethan?
Honestly, I think Bird hit it on the head. So not much more to say. You got everything.
Thank you.
Just for all 3, after last season, how hard I'm just wondering, how hard were schools coming after you guys to get into the transfer portal? And if so, what was the impetus to stay, and what was the selling point there?
Who wants to take that?
Yeah, really wasn't a thing for me, honestly. I've been a backer the past 3 years, so I didn't have any schools come after me. But these guys are starters here, so they're probably better suited for the question.
I mean, that wasn't really on my mind, crossing my mind at all. Obviously, I've been here for the past 4 years, so I took my time to grow and develop as a player here, and I got my chance to start last year. So I wouldn't have just left. So I wanted to do another year here and obviously try to get another MAC championship here.
Javon?
And Nate mentioned the word develop. That's what Hammock always, harping on. This is a developmental program, and I have been here for all 4 years. And when those talks came up, I would just focus on, being better the next season. And that's all, us as players can do. We just focus on the next season. We all came up in this program. We all, got, like what they say, blood in the bricks. So it's like, I got to come back and, finish where we started. And, I feel like we're in that upward trend, so.
Yeah, I think as well, that's a testament to what we built here. It's not super common. You have 30 or whatever, we have 25 seniors who've been here for 4 years, especially in this new age of NIL, college football. It's really easy to jump ship for, some money or for, you're now playing at a bigger name school. But it's just a testament to what Coach Ham has built and what all the players before us have built in this culture.
Talk about, Coach Hammock was in here talking about how, obviously with that win, with the Cheez-Its, with the sunglasses all coming in, and he's doing it for you guys. Just talk about what it means personally to play for a guy like Coach Hammock, who's been here and obviously has his heart for the program.
Nate?
I mean, obviously, it shows a lot about Coach Hammock's character as a coach and as a man. So just giving back to us as football players. He's always promised us that if anything that he gets or anybody hits him up, that he'll give back to us. So it just shows the character of a coach for him.
Ethan?
Yeah, I think the fact that Coach Ham played here and has his roots here is something that's helped our program a ton. The trust we have in Coach Ham and the confidence we have in him to lead us is stronger now than it ever has been. So when you have a coach who's been in a lot of the same spots you've been in, obviously we didn't have this building, but played on the same field and goes through a lot of the same situations as you. It makes him very personable and relatable, and that's one of Coach Ham's biggest strengths in my opinion. So he wants to be here, and in turn, it makes us want to play for him.
And since I've been here, Coach Ham has always been the same person. He always talk about building relationships, and that's what he's done since like my freshman year. So, I mean, that just goes to show, like when they said the type of man he is, the type of coach he is, he always harps on being the same guy every day, and that's him. So I feel like it all comes for a circle. We pay him in hard work, and he says he'll take care of us, and he has never let us down in that sense. So.
This one's for the defensive guys. So when Hammock was in here, he started about Buffalo's quarterback, C.J. Bana. He's a dual threat. He's only had 2 starts at Buffalo, but he has experience in the FCS. What are some things you can kind of take advantage of there come Saturday for the quarterback?
Javon?
Yeah, we have looked at the film. We have seen that he's a dual threat quarterback. He does have the potential to throw 50-50 balls as well. So just going back to basics, just everybody doing their job. From D-line to linebackers to us as DBs, we have to, stay locked in the coverage just in case he scramble. Scramble drill, we got to plaster our receivers to eliminate those big broken plays. And then we have the opportunity to, get him on the ground behind the line of scrimmage. We need to do that as well. So just kind of going in with a plan. We have a good plan coming up, and that's really all we can do is execute the plan that the defensive coaches have given us, and I feel real confident in that plan.
Nate?
Yeah, I mean, like what Bird said, he's a great quarterback. He can, he can create space when he's on the run. I think he can create plays when he's outside the pocket. So, just like Bird said, keeping maintaining the technique that we have, and everybody's doing their 111th. Everyone just do their job. So,
Ethan, you had the most experience here at NIU coming into this season, yet the coaches did not just hand you the job after last season, put you in that quarterback competition. Do you look at that now as a blessing? Did that off-season of competition help bring out the best in you and sharpen you?
Absolutely. And honestly, if they would have just handed me a position, that I wouldn't want that. I want what's best for this team. So if there's a quarterback better than me, and he would have won the job, then I knew I did everything, I could have, and it just wasn't good enough. But, I've had the confidence I'm the best quarterback here, this whole year, and I've carried myself that way. And bringing in guys is what they have to do. It's their job. They're trying to get the team better. So in no way did I think it was a personal shot. It's just what we had to do as a team. And then obviously, I embraced the competition and, took the bull by the horns.
One for Javon and Nate. You guys got here in 2021, but in 2020, you're being recruited by NIU, and they're in the middle of a winless season. I'm wondering just how that might have weighed on your minds and what was selling you on coming to NIU then.
I can start. I was actually at South Dakota 2020. I did get recruited by Hammock though out of high school. I ended up going to South Dakota, so me and Hammock already had a great relationship before that. So obviously I seen they had an 0-6 season 2020. I didn't really think too much about it. I thought he was a great guy. I know one thing when I first met him that was his character about him. So I think just after that 0-6 season, I know that he was a guy that I wanted to play for. He told me that there's a program that will be successful in a couple of years. So just, trusted him, and obviously he came to NIU.
So again, I'll go back to the word relationship. My family has a great relationship with Hammock as well, even from back when I was in high school. Some of the coaches came up to my high school. I came up here more times than I can count. And it was just a great experience from the coaching staff, from Hammock. Every time he was interacting around parents, interacting with me, picking my brain about things, just building a relationship. And that kind of laid the foundation for, me to come here and play for NIU and for Coach Hammock because of those relationships. About me, family is a big thing. So that was kind of a holistic decision. And I feel like it came, full circle. Here we are now.
Anything else for the players? Eddie? No, what?
No, good. They asked all the stuff.
All right, with that, we'll let these guys go. We appreciate everyone being here.
Thank you.
Today.
Can I speak with Ethan real quick? Ethan?